Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Qdabra's weekly webinar. This is Patrick, and I'm thrilled today to have Misti at ImpactLife as one of our customer testimonials, one of our stories of a challenging project we had last year. Can you hear me okay, Mel?
Yes, loud and clear.
So thanks everyone for being here. Just a quick poll to start us off with. Do you still use SharePoint Designer workflows? I'm guessing that maybe the answer is no for most of you. We've got actually quite a few saying yes. So thanks for that. There's about 75% of you saying yes. And we're going to do one more quick question here at the beginning just to get us in the right frame of mind. And this is about time fields. We've got a bonus demo at the end of the webinar today with Dawn, who's going to show us how to add smart time controls to your forms. So that's great that everyone has time controls, it looks like, or at least those of you that are responding. Actually, a couple of you don't now that we have some more response. So thanks again for being here. So that's it for the polls. We are very happy to have Misti here today. We had a very challenging project over the last, I want to say, year and a half, a year and 4 months. And Misti, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to just switch to your screen and let you talk about your project here, and I'll ask a few questions. And
Okay.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. We really had started with the decommissioning of the 2010 SharePoint Designer workflows. We were looking for a way to centralize the form experience and move away from all the library maintenance. We wanted to centralize security for just have user and form administrator access. When we had to manage libraries, we were having all kinds of issues with different levels of access depending on the library and who was using it. So we wanted to slim that down to either you were a user or you were administrator. We wanted to improve the experience when they access submitted forms. So how does that look when you go into the library or go into a dashboard and try to look at forms that you have access to? And we also wanted to have a unified look and feel for each form, which we initially did not have.
Did you find that users were abusing the SharePoint views, customizing them too much? I mean, was that one of the reasons why you wanted to make them more, give them guardrails, so to speak?
Well, we have HR forms, and we also have finance forms, and we absolutely needed to be able to make sure that one user was not able to look at another user's forms. They might have financial information or HR information that shouldn't be shared with other users. So we were always on guard with what can people see, what can't they see, and it was just always an issue whenever we had to create customized security. So it was just hard to administer. It was hard to maintain. So and then we also wanted some tracking and reporting, which we didn't have. So really the Qdabra solution was the only solution out there for us that would give us everything that we wanted. We're extremely customized, so we don't really do anything out of the box, of course. So we needed a way to transfer everything that we had into something new that had a more centralized look and feel.
That's awesome. Can you show us?
Yeah, sure. So what we came up with is called Central Flows. It has a dashboard, a standardized look and feel template for the forms, and then
did you get the pop-up? Sorry, did you get the pop-up with the share?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, there we go. Thanks.
Yep. You guys used your migration tool to migrate all of the forms from the libraries into our new DBXL instance. So what we have here is our Central Flows dashboard. It detects who's logged in, and then it filters who has access to which forms. So if you're an administrator of the actual dashboard, you have all forms. If you're an administrator of a particular form, you would only see that form in this list. So
You're like a global admin, right?
yeah, yep, I'm a global admin, so I see everything. So depending on where the task assignment is for the given form, you would have it in either my assignments, or if it goes to a distribution group, it would be in my group assignments. Your forms that you have submitted are under my forms. And then if you are a manager, supervisor, so on, you would have in my staff hyperlink that would take you to forms that were submitted by your staff. So,
and this is like the centralized dashboard where everyone goes, so they have one place to, they don't get, and they don't have to worry about finding the form library or the site or anything like that. I mean, it's one site, right? It's per site, right? Yeah, I got you.
One site, everybody goes to this same dashboard, regardless of what location you're at, and it's the same look and feel for everybody. It's just customized depending on what your security is as to what you see in these menus and in the drop down. So it's nice and organized. We can do a dashboard search for something if you want to, and then it's nice to be able to see, we can see the workflow history real quickly here to see where the form is at in the process if you can't figure it out by status. And then you guys created a very nice administration, well, we call it a portal, but it's really just a configuration service for the forms so that we can set up the workflow right in the form. And then as we do our testing, we can see, so here's what our forms look like. They all have the header here for the form name, and they all have the panel on the right side where all of the buttons are located. So every form is set up this way. And then you'll have your form data here. And
you can, have you gone in and actually changed the workflow config? Can you show them, can you show us how you do that?
I was gonna, I'm gonna bring that up now. So we have a button, if you close the panel, you'll be able to go to the config here.
And you're the only, only the admins can see that button, right?
That's correct. Yep, the button's hidden if you do not have access to that. So here's our configuration. This is the approvals tab. And so every form is different, obviously. So this determines which buttons you see when you open the form.
And those are the buttons in the task pane, right?
Yes, the buttons in the task pane. And then notifications are all actually moved to DBXL. We don't have any notifications configured within the form, so that stays blank. We also have a proxy option so that if one of the managers is on vacation, they can assign it to some other manager in their department, and then all of the notifications and assignments go to that proxy.
Have you used that yet? For any of them?
Nope. Donor Services is getting ready to use it, I think, next week. So, yeah, so we'll see how it works. And then, of course, the admins perform are listed here. So that's easy administration for us to be able to modify something that's there, add something, or delete somebody out. And then the custom data is actually, we have a set number of columns for each form, and they're the same for every form. And then if you go beyond that set number of 10 or 12, you have an additional 10 columns, which are the fields from the form that you can add to your dashboard.
And this one doesn't have any custom HR new hires?
No,
okay.
But some might. You know, HR might want to know somebody's employee ID or, you know, something like that. So we would add that as a custom column for that.
Those show up on the dashboard, right?
Correct. Yep. Those will show up on the dashboard. That's right. Yep. So this is how we administer it. And the nice thing is too that we now have a sandbox solution. So I can create forms and we can do testing kind of all on the back end before we just, you know, go live like we used to. So it was kind of hairy the way we used to do it. Everyone would have to, you know, we'd have to do it in live, so people would be getting notifications that shouldn't, and so it's very nice to be able to do that now.
That's great. I guess the question is how easy is it for you to add this task pane and the configuration to the new forms? Have you actually had a chance to do this on your own?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
So
yeah.
that's okay. I was just going to bring up a blank one so you could kind of see. So what I would do is if I have a form that's already created, then I need to convert, the form data would be here. And then all I have to do is go down here and add my central flows. And as soon as it pops in, it gives you instructions. There's instructions at the top of the template, and it tells you everything that you need to do to set it up. So very simple.
Well, I'm going to, oh, wow. Yeah. We are planning to add this to Forms Designer as well. I see you're still using InfoPath Designer for this because that's the only way to add it right now.
Yep.
Cool.
But yeah, so then I would just cut my current form, come down to the section where it tells me to paste my form in, which is right here, add form in this section. And then I would just click here and paste it in.
Awesome.
And then go back up and follow all the instructions. So really, anybody in our department can do it as long as you, are familiar with InfoPath.
And once you do it, then the form is configured to show up in the dashboard, and it's configured with that task pane and the configuration for admins.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yep. So then once it's added, what I can do then is I go and add it to my template here. Once I submit a test, so we have a section here just for validation. So I would add that template into the validation section. And then once we open it and submit one of those, I'm able to go to DBXL and set up all the emails. And so, yeah, it's really simple.
Maybe we should show like the DBXL emails. You've actually, that's one of the hurdles I'm going to mention in a moment here. We got a slide on hurdles and leaps, the challenges that we faced. And one of the challenges was this kind of customized emails that you had for all the forms, and using fields in the form. Yeah. And I know that initially we were trying to do this all with SharePoint out of the box, and we decided to add this DBXL option in here, our database accelerator, which allows you to map the data into a SQL database and then use the email notifications from there. And the benefit, I guess, was that you could create in the view of the form the email that you want to send, right? And so your form, your account, your auditor account request form, do you have that open? Maybe we can just show people the view that how that looks, and then cross-reference it with how DBXL generates those emails.
Okay, so here is my auditor account form, and then here are all my emails. So I set the email up in here. Then all I have to do is go to central flows here in the Qd central flows, and then make sure that I have what's going to be used as an email mapping for each of the different types of emails that I'm going to send. So create accounts, deactivated, requesting a laptop, the initial approval request. So I have those all set up here, and then each one has a subject to, and then if there's a CC, that's also in here. But they don't always all have a CC.
And then those are referenced within DBXL. Can you show us?
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, so in here, then all I would do is come in here, all of those emails that are represented here in views, so all of these correspond to the emails that are here.
I see.
So
each one of those is a separate state,
right?
Something like that.
Yep. And you don't have to separate them out. I mean, I guess you could do them all in one view and show hide, but for my brain and ease of use, I separate them out. And just in case there's somebody else that, God forbid I get hit by a bus, but if someone else would have to come in and try and administer all this, it would be separate and it'd be easy to tell, what you were looking at. So, yep. So I just come in here, I put the condition in, and then I tell it which field to look at for the subject. which view to pick to send the email, and then it all goes out.
And then so, I guess one of the benefits is that you can actually change the view quite easily. You can just go back into the designer and you can drag and drop fields. Like if you wanted, like those, what do you call it? The dotted boxes. If you go back to the designer view, those are actually representing calculated values, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, and I have to do that occasionally. Come in here and, oh, nope, we don't want to use that field. We want to use, you know, not auditor name. We want to use something else, company name.
And then you can kind of format this like you've got with the blue and the purple or whatever that color is.
Yep. Yeah. I just format everything the way I want the email to look, and then this is how it goes out.
Can you show us one of the emails that gets generated? Sure. I don't know if we might have to scrub your screen here to not.
Oh, no, I have all my workflow emails separated out into
cool.
different locations. So auditor is one I haven't gone through testing with it yet, but we'll just go through like donor services as a good example. So here's the emails look exactly like I have them set up in each of the form views.
And that's coming from DBXL, even though you've configured it to say SharePoint workflow as a from.
Yep. Yeah, and I configure all of them that way. So every single form comes from our SharePoint workflow.
Oh, awesome.
So it's not coming from a particular user.
Okay, well, this has been wonderful. I want to keep this short here, and I just, if we could switch back, you don't mind, I'll switch back to the slides and just talk a little bit about. This has been, thank you very much for the demo and for doing our customer story today. And I'm sure we're going to have more questions. If people have questions for Misti, now's a great time to ask them. And let's see, maybe Misti, you can keep sharing and just go to that slide deck I sent you, and I can just quickly jump to the next slide. And we can talk a little bit about it, and then we'll jump back and show Dawn's demo. Do you have that? Yeah, there. Thanks for opening that. And I think I was on. Let's see, that's an old one. That's not, I can share out my screen. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I can do it.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah, I might switch back to you if people have a question that they want you to share something. But yeah, so this is great. So I know it took us a long time to figure this out. We had a lot of challenges. I know we added some extra features. You can see my screen, I think, now, but validation, approval pane. I wanted to just quickly jump to this slide I've got on hurdles and leaps here, which I think is right here. And I might jump back and talk about central flows a little bit more, but we had that conditional email stuff that was challenging. We moved that to the form views in DBXL. That was a major redo, I think, after we asked Microsoft to extend the end of life for SharePoint Designer, and then that gave us time to do that. And then you had a bunch of SharePoint Designer workflows that had parallel steps. Remember that?
Yeah, we had a lot of those, actually, more than we thought that we did.
I know that we were troubled about how to do that correctly, and we even had a bunch of, we had one design that we threw away. We started down this path of, okay, we're going to do this all using this really complex DBXL thing that generates child forms. And then in the end, we just said, no, we'll just do locking. And that's been sufficient?
Yeah, yep, that works perfectly.
We didn't show them locking. I don't know if we can actually demo that or not.
I don't know if we can either.
But when the form opens and someone else has it open, it tells them that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And are they using that at all? Is that helpful?
I assume that it's working because we haven't had any tickets. So I think so, yeah.
Can we show the dashboard with some of the custom columns on it real quick?
Sure.
Okay, I'll just switch back to you.
Let's go to, I'm trying to think of which one. Is it trade? I think it's trade, actually.
One of the other reasons, yep, okay, I see.
Here we go. So these are all custom columns. So that we've added in for them to be able to just view the form here without having to open it, which for them was what they needed because they get so many requests, 60 to 80 requests a day. So.
And how's the blood drive going? I know it's been a big shortage across the nation. Are you
Yeah,
guys...
we're struggling just like everybody else, I think.
Yeah. I need to go in and give.
It's hard when everyone's sick, and
Do you have to tell them don't give blood because they come in when they're sick?
Yeah, we do.
It must be tough.
Unfortunately.
It must be tough. Well, thanks so much again for the webinar this week. I'm going to switch back to my screen here, and I think just quickly wrap up with a few words about this. We have this built-in solution, which Misti just demoed, which is we're calling central flows, and it comes with forms here, so there's no additional licensing or anything like that. And basically, like Misti was showing, it gives you that consistent task pane, the ability to. We didn't show the external login support, but there's a way to do this with phone authentication. You're not using that, are you, Misti?
Not yet, but we have tested it and it does work.
Oh wow,
for us.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the dashboard there, the sort of the centralized dashboard, and then talked about how you change the configuration form to change the workflow steps. We might make that more graphical in the future, but right now it's just that table that we saw. So anyway, the benefit to you is that you can convert your SharePoint Designer workflows, you can simplify the setup, reduce your maintenance cost, provide these guardrails to not have users get lost in SharePoint and whatever. And then there's some other benefits. So I want to quickly switch to Dawn. We have if anyone has questions, now's a great time to put them in there. And you can add questions to the webinar interface there, I think. And Dawn has a bonus demo. So we've had a customer, and I want to thank Richard Prestonwood, who is here, for inspiring us yet again to create a custom solution for a problem that he had, and this is regarding time. How do you control? Maybe I should ask you, Richard, about this, and I'll just unmute you here so you can maybe say a few words about it if you're there. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, hi everybody.
Great to have you here again.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, Don's done a lot of really cool stuff with the time validation. So I'm really excited about what he's been able to create in just a short amount of time. So
were you able to add it to your form?
Yes, there's two versions of it, and so one version works with the date and time control. There's two parts to the control, and then he has another version which works if you just want a time control by itself.
Mm-hmm. Dawn, are you there? Do you want to quickly show us? I know we're running out of time here too, but I think we got a few more minutes left.
Hey, Patrick. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So, Richard is having problems with this time control field, so it's showing up the XML.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to fix that, I created an XTP which you can easily add to your forms. So, for this one, I'm just adding the template part. XCP, the time control. Okay, there we go. It's added, and when it's there, you just need to add it to your form and first configure QRules to point to the actual QRules nodes. Okay, first for the command, I'm pointing it to the actual QRules command node and just setting the result, success, and error nodes here. There we go. And next thing you need to do is configure the date and time field to set the time. So you just need to grab the XTP, set a fields value, And click here if you want to set the date and time controls. And you just need to set to the XPath. And for the time field, we need to add this helper field, which is QD_time. And we have to do the same thing. We just need to grab the XPath action, set the rule.
So you're using an attribute there, and you're actually then the logic in XTP is going to set that attribute. Is that how it's going to work?
Yes, that's correct. That's the attribute. And for this one, we need to use the set datetime node of the XTP. For time fields, we just need to do the same thing. Grab the XTP. The XPath. Set time. But for this one, we need to use this first one, the set time node here. For repeating sections, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to need to declare the row number using the count preceding formula. So you just need to insert a square bracket here, double quotes, and then use the count preceding.
You're missing a P. Oh, there you go.
Preceding sibling formula.
That's kind of tricky.
Okay, and then uncap. Set date time, and do the same thing here for for the QD time you need to use reference.
That's tricky too.
Yeah, a bit tricky.
It was pretty easy for me because I didn't have to do repeating tables.
Gotcha. Don's like very, comprehensive here. It's like want to cover all the bases.
Yeah, this looks a little intimidating.
It would be intimidating for me too, Richard.
I didn't have to do this part. For the non-repeating table controls, it was pretty easy.
Did it solve your need? I mean, did it address the issue?
I think so. The only issue I'm having is I'm in the process of migrating this form from SharePoint 2013 to SharePoint Online. I'm migrating the files over. The files that I've moved over, I have a date and time control, and it's not the new date and time control that I've set up this XTP in. It's not recognizing the time for the form submissions that I've copied over, but with the forms that I've submitted from the new library, it's working perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's
one thing I was thinking, Don, is that what about a drop down? Like in order to select time, sometimes the phones use like a drop down control. Did you think about adding a drop? I mean, do they need to select time, or are you just hoping that it's not showing up? They don't need to select time, but you just didn't want it to show up. Is that right, Richard?
Well, yeah. I guess the time it's not showing up on the forms that I've copied over for some reason. So I was going to get with Don to see if there's any way to get that working. This is all very, very new, So.
Yeah, fresh.
But if you're starting with a brand new form library, and if you're not copying over files, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
If that
Okay,
makes sense.
great. Well, that's great. Thanks, Don, for the quick demo. I guess we might want to do that again in our next webinar and kind of show the progression of this. But it's great that you're able to sort of fill this gap in our controls for forms here. I want to quickly just jump back. Don, thanks again. I appreciate you doing this. I'm going to switch back to my screen just because we don't have much time left here. And
Thanks, Patrick.
yeah, great job. Yeah, I just want to quickly, once again, we have this replacement for InfoPath called Qdabra Forms now. That's because we have a designer. We actually have made a lot of progress on the designer. We're in sprint 13. We're hoping to have we're in the beta. We've been in the beta for, well, almost a year now. And here's the latest and greatest version of it. And I want to just quickly show people that we continuing to make a lot of progress with our version history here. We just released this 13th sprint. We're hoping to have 1.0 release in Q1, end of March, beginning of April timeframe to meet our training class. Our free training class is going to be at the end of April. So we're hoping to have even more labs on the Forms Designer product at the end of April. We had about 40% of our content in our December class on Forms Designer. We're hoping to up that and have the 1.0 release then. So you can see that all the stuff that we've been doing. Jimmy's been working really hard on this. I just wanted to give a shout out to Forms Designer because I know people are always asking us, well, when are you going to have it completely done? And we hope to have major functionality done so that you can basically change your data connections and do all that kind of thing, within the next couple months. So thanks for your patience on that. And thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Misti again for her wonderful testimonial and the demos. And we look forward to supporting you over the next year. And same for you, Richard. Thanks for the testimonial in December. And we'll get this time thing figured out and sorted. And look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Patrick.
Have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks. Bye.